Welcome to Amanda Hall Psychic. We're doing our little mini weekly workshop. This week we're talking about the blue moon in Libra. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. We're having an absolutely awesome week as we head into the Easter weekend. So it's amazing to see everybody here again. I do apologise that the broadcast's early. We've had a few mix-ups here this morning, so we're just kicking the show off half an hour early. So I do apologise for that. It's great to see everyone. I'll apologise now. I won't be replying to anything that you ask me during the broadcast. A big hello, a big shout out to everyone. I'm here to sort of educate and share with you some of my knowledge. So this weekend, no matter where you are around the globe, we are heading into what's known as a blue moon. A blue full moon in Libra, to be precise. So how do we get a blue full moon, I hear you say? Well, a blue full moon means the second full moon in any calendar month. So yes, that's why there's been many songs and many opportunities and many things written about once in a blue moon. So that's just a little bit of a sneak preview about what we're going to cover today. I'd like to welcome everybody to joining us here on our mini weekly workshop here with Amanda Hall Psychic. For those of you that don't know me, let me just introduce myself. I've been a psychic here in Australia for well over 40 years now. No, don't do the maths. I know I'm looking pretty good for 110. I've been inducted into the Psychic Hall of Fame. I've been voted for the 4th year in a row Australian Psychic of the Year here by the public, and thank you to everybody that voted. That's just a little bit of my history. I've also been a best-selling author of an amazing tarot set that was launched about 13 years ago now called Simply Tarot. We went worldwide. We made the bestsellers list here in Australia. It's gone on to sort of huge success. It's been launched in just about every country around the world. And next week on our mini workshop, we're going to celebrate Simply Tarot's little sister. They're called The Secrets of Tarot. Next week will be Secrets of Tarot's first birthday, so I hope you can join us for that. And we'll be working actually with the tarot next week. I will apologise now. I do not do free readings here on these mini workshops. My aim is to educate and enlighten people and to share with people some of my knowledge as a psychic astrologer that I've massed over my 40-odd-year career, so that I can help demystify some of the things about astrology and teach you how to work with the art of candles. So as I said to you, if you've just joined us, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. My name's Amanda. We're going to be talking about the blue full moon in Libra, to be precise, this weekend on the 31st of March, wherever you are around the globe of ours. So what does a blue moon mean? Well, the blue moon is actually the second full moon in a calendar month. Some years we might have up to 3 blue moons, and then we can go years and years and years without having any. So does it make the moon more emotional? Does it make it more intense? Look, there's lots of schools of thought around this. My personal belief is no, it doesn't. It's no more powerful than any other full moon. It's just that we've had 2 in this calendar month. And I think it also depends on what else is happening around the universe to say to you whether or not this full moon or this blue full moon is going to affect you any differently than what it has with other things. So yes, it will probably seem more intense this weekend, and as we head into it, anytime we throw holidays into the mix, whether they be Easters, Christmases, or really big festive family events, we find that emotions run very full and very definite, and people sort of find that they feel uncomfortable with the things that are looming up, and maybe having to attend family events, and they get nervous and don't want to have a couple of too many drinks and things like that, and tempers get frayed and lots of things come out in the washing, so to speak, that maybe that we didn't want to talk about. So just be aware of that. We've got a lot of planetary stuff. I will be talking about that on my regular show on A1R Psychic Radio, which is, I've got to just check something if you don't mind, because the show was about to be, we're about half an hour. Just bear with me because we've had a glitch in the US. Yes, that's okay. That's why I'm doing this show earlier, because we've had a glitch in the US, and it meant that I could come and do the Facebook Live earlier than what I would have done, because of they had a power outage over there. So, this is, leads me to the show that I will be doing at approximately 12:30 at Queensland time here, on my show out of the US on A1R Psychic Radio on Moonstruck TV, where I will be going into great depth about astrologically what's happening around the blue full moon besides the blue full moon. And I will be talking to you about things that what to avoid, how to handle it, and how to maybe overcome some of those little tricky situations, and why we all need to be on our best behaviour with our communication. And we'll have a little chat about Mercury retrograde. I might even be able to do that here in this mini workshop if we get enough time. So before I go too much further ahead, I would like to suggest to you, if you want to join in on any of my services, you'll find the link button on my Amanda Hall Psychic page. It'll have a link through to my website. If you want to make a purchase and you type in the word Facebook in capital letters at the checkout in the coupon box, you'll get a nice little discount there for participating from this event. Now, people sort of always ask me, look, what am I supposed to do around a full moon, let alone a blue full moon, Amanda? I'm really confused. What is it that I'm responsible for? Look, a full moon to me is always about releasing, letting go. It's like taking the trash out. It's like taking the trash out of our lives. Do we have anything that we've been working on that we need to let go of? Are we sort of looking at things that we need to say to ourselves, this is the time that we need to be releasing and letting go of things so that we can move forward? So it's all good. It's all good from my point of view that if you've been working hard on yourself and you've been releasing things or getting ready to release things, whether they're emotional issues, whether it's sort of letting go of old pains, old arguments, just, you know, even just releasing old emotions out of yourself, that's great. This is the perfect time. So how do we work with a full moon energy? Obviously, I'm going to be talking about and recommending you would use my candles, but I'm not saying you can't do this if you don't have one of my candles, that you got to wait till the next full moon. I really wouldn't want to see you do that. But just bearing in mind, when I start talking about the candles, you can use any candle. Obviously, if you use the ones that have been specially designed for these sort of events, yes, they're going to have more power because they've been infused with that energy to help you achieve the results that you're looking for. So let's, without further ado, pop into the first one, which is my full moon candle. Now, this would be a candle that I would write my list of the things that I'm hoping to release. Let's just say, for argument's sake, I've got old memories that have been surfacing in the last month connected to my childhood. Well, I could write that down on the piece of paper in bullet point form. These are the things that I want to release. I also want to release the argument I had with my sister last week. I also want to release all my negativity, say, for argument's sake. You'd put that on your piece of paper, you would read it out aloud, then place it underneath the candle, and then you would put the candle on a coaster or some sort of barrier between that and the furniture or the surface that you're going to put it on, because the glass itself can get hot. The soy mixture, the soy wax does not get hot, but the glass container that they are in, or metal containers that they're in, that's what gets hot. So then I would light the candle, still reading out aloud before I write it and put the information underneath what I want to release. So I would burn the candle from anything from 15 minutes to 2 hours, and I would start, I know the new moon is on Saturday, but I like to get a bit of a head start on these things. And I always like to start 24 or 48 hours after, before the event. And then the full moon actually technically goes for 2.5 days. So you'd roughly say, well, okay, you'd burn your candle between 5 minutes to 2 hours for the 3 days from the full moon. And then I always allow a couple of days past that. So technically, I'd be looking at a 7-day period. So I will be starting on Thursday, starting to release what I need to release from my full moon this month, my full blue moon. I would be starting with that sort of energy. I would write a second list that would be identical, and I would be working with the one that would represent Libra. Now, this is my air sign candle, so I would also put the same information on another piece of paper, go through the same ritual, and light my air sign candle for the same length of time. Now, why would I burn 2 candles? Well, the reasons why I would burn 2 candles is, one, we're releasing with the full moon, and in this case, the blue full moon. But the second thing is the energy of the full moon is in Libra, so it's in air. So I want to get the full impact as much as I can in the releasing of the full moon. Now, for those of you that want to travel, you can get a little travel pack and make it up to your own combination on our website. These are my travel candles. They will burn for up to about 15 hours, where the big extra large ones will go to up to 100 hours, depending on how you look after your candle. If you keep your wicks well trimmed, and you also keep them out of drafts, not under fans, things like that, they will burn longer. This is my travel pack for this full moon. It's got a full moon candle on each side and the air sign candle in the middle. But that would be just if you wanted to purchase something like that, but you can make up your travel kit or your gift pack any way that you see fit. Now, why is it so important that we work with the energy of the moon? Well, the moon changes signs in astrology following the zodiac wheel every 2.5 days. And this is why our emotions go up and down. And one day we can be feeling great. The next day we feel like we've been run over by 10 Mack trucks. And then we can't understand why. It's because the moon has shifted energies. But I feel as we open ourselves up more to become psychic, or whatever a label you want to put on it, you're opening yourself up to evolve and to become a better person. You start to become so much more sensitive to the moon. And that's something that as we open ourselves up more, we start to understand that. People often say to me, oh, look, I can't sleep for days before the full moon. Why is that, Amanda? It's because of your sensitivity towards the moon. Some people find it really difficult to sleep then. Some people find they get angry, agitated, people get on their nerves. Some women find that their monthly cycle syncs with the full moon, and that's another story. If you're a house full of women, you'll find all the women will sync their cycles together, and that's just a female thing. But you also find men also struggle with the full moon too, and it's not just because some men are becoming more open and more sensitive and more empathic or more aware. It's just that they're starting to honor that, hang on a minute, I don't feel right. So these are all important facets. So, you know, there's lots of time, you know, we could spend hours and hours and hours here on a live broadcast, and I could talk and bore you silly with some of my knowledge. But for those of you that may want to know more about what's actually happening in your life astrologically, and you don't have a lot of money in your budget, if you head to my website, you'll find at the bottom of the astrology page, you can book a 15-minute consultation with me where I can tailor that to what you want to know on an astrological level. If you want to know why the moon affects you so much, or what cycle am I in, Amanda, or can you give me a little quick rundown between, is my new partner and I, are we compatible, without having to invest in a big chart that you know your budget may not allow, or you don't need that much information. That little option's there for you at $60. Plus, don't forget, type in Facebook in capital letters at the coupon box and you'll get a discount on that as well. So I don't do free readings in my mini workshops. I do a couple of free readings in my show out of the US of A, but I've strictly decided that these little weekly workshops are about education, and I want to keep it in that theme that I'm helping you understand things that you need to understand about your life. So it's really, really interesting as we move through other areas of our lives. And I will just quickly touch on Mercury retrograde, because I know many, many people really struggle with Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde. It's the planet of communication. He goes retrograde 3 times a year. We're just in the start of that. It started last week on the 22nd, I think, from memory, goes through till the 15th of April. It is a time where we must be very, very aware of how we communicate. People will not have their listening ears on. People will have glitches in computer systems. Communications will not get through. Today's show being delayed by half an hour out of the US with a power outage is a classic Mercury retrograde symptom, if we want to put it that way. So we all have to adjust and move schedules around and become really flexible. But because Mercury retrograde this time is in Aries, and the Aries energy is about me first, it's about being bossy, it's about being fiery, outspoken, I must get my needs met, my needs are more important than yours. So you're going to find that some of your communications or some of your phone calls or your messages are going to be in that tone, and automatically we get defensive and think, hang on a minute, don't speak to me like that. I'm not your doormat, I'm not your punching bag. And we tend to sort of think, okay, well, I can respond in the same way. Well, let me assure you, that's your option if that's how you want to deal with things. I used to when I was younger. I was never an angel, let me assure you. Somebody bird up at me, I bird straight back, you know, let's have a stoush right now. But as I've got older and hopefully a little bit wiser, I've now looked at other ways to deal with a situation, and sometimes saying straight out, hang on a minute, I'm not going to accept you speaking to me like that. If you continue to do so, I will terminate the phone call. and they continue to do it, you terminate the phone call. You've given them the one chance to stop and take stock of what they're doing. You don't need to be in that environment where somebody is yelling and screaming or taking their pent-up frustration and anger out on you and not listening to what you've got to say. So please be very, very careful over this Easter weekend about how you deal with your communications. I know that already my inbox has been full with people sharing with me little stories of things that have just happened in the last 48 hours as the energy starts to build and as we head towards this blue full moon in a Libra, which Librian energy is about scales, it's about balance, and it's about getting to the truth. Now, isn't that interesting when we've got this fiery, Mercury retrograde in Aries, and it's sort of trying to sort of get all the information out there, and I want my needs met now, and I want you to listen, and I'm right and you're wrong. And then the opposite end with the moon being at the opposite side of the zodiac saying, I want balance, I want truth, I want everything to find its level. And it's like, wow, hang on a minute. These are almost like opposites, and they are. It is at opposite sides of the zodiac where you've got Mercury here and we've got the full moon over here, the blue full moon over here. So they are at opposites. So that's a push-pull situation to begin with. And then we add that layer of communication where people don't have their listening ears on, and that makes it even more tricky. So what I'm suggesting to you is before you open your mouth, think about it. Think about how you're going to phrase it. Is the other person going to be upset, get cranky with you? Are they going to be sort of, well, how dare you? If so, then maybe shelve the conversation till after the 15th of April, and then everybody will be a lot calmer. And please be very aware of too much alcohol. That causes more arguments than anything. And maybe it's not the time to bring up the old family history over Sunday lunch or Good Friday lunch and end up in a punch-up with the rellies, because maybe it's not the right time to do that. And just, if somebody's starting to annoy you, get up and walk out. Go for a walk. Do something different. Divert your energy. Don't be the one in the argument. If there's two people in an argument and one walks away, well, the other person's left to argue with themselves. And that's been my approach, is I give somebody a warning. If they don't want to hear it, then I terminate the call or I terminate the conversation and I walk off and I do something else, because I don't believe we need to be someone else's punching bag. Yes, we all have a right to have our opinion heard and to be able to voice our opinion, but we don't have to jam it down someone else's throat and say, my way is the only way. We've got to play that toing and froing and that let's listen to see what the other person's got to say. I may not agree with them, but at least I'll give them a hearing. So it's really, really important. I can't emphasize enough about this blue full moon in Libra on the weekend, the 31st of March. If you've only just joined us, what is a blue moon? A blue moon is when we have a second full moon in a calendar month, and that is why it's called Once in a Blue Moon. And there's lots of songs that have been written about blue moons over the years, and that's the reason why. No, it does not intensify the moon, in my opinion. It depends what else is happening astrologically. And as I said, if you want to jump over to A1R Psychic Radio at approximately 12:30 Queensland time, I will be doing my regular show then out of the US, and I will be talking more about what's happening in the universe. You are more than welcome to join us. It's free. For those of you that mightn't have time, it will be feeding through my social media over the weekend, so you can play catch up with it then. Plus, also last week I had this brilliant idea. I've actually set up a page, a brand new page called Amanda Hall Psychic Mini Workshops. And all my previous shows from A1R Psychic Radio, I'm slowly uploading there, and I will be uploading the weekly workshop to there after it's finished here on Facebook as well, just so that you've got a central location that you can go back and binge watch or think, gee, I want to go back and see that episode where Amanda was talking about grief or she was talking about the blue moon. You'll be able to find them all in one spot. So please bear with me. It does take a little bit of time. And there is only 24 hours in the day, and I'm like everybody else. I run out of time too, but I also try and pace myself these days. Now that I'm 110, I've got to slow down just a little bit. So I'm here to educate. I'm here to help. So if you have any questions or anything that you would like me to talk about in these mini workshops, besides what the topic is of the week that I'm going to talk about, please private message me. I'm happy to weave them in there, because this is what it's about. It's about educating you and helping you understand to become a better person. And for those of you that know me, that follow what I do, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of John Edward. And might I say that I, like everybody else, I can sometimes be a little bit slack. I've just completed a really amazing online course with John called Project You. If you want to know more about it, it is on my website. It is supposed to be, you know, a course that you do at your own pace. They recommend 90 days. I took 11 months, but we won't tell anybody how long I took. But I did that on purpose because I really wanted to make sure that I thoroughly looked at and approached this course with John as if I knew nothing about the subject. So I really went back and did the lessons over and over and over again. And it was a fantastic thing. I don't say that I learnt a lot, but it gave me a lot of credit in as much as saying I knew that, and that's the way I handle things, and I could go tick, 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 tick. It was nice confirmation for me. Plus, I just think John's an amazing man. He's got an amazing energy, and I had the good fortune of meeting him last year. He is one of the people that I really do look up to in the industry, that he's always been so humble. And I think if you're going to ever model yourself on someone, I think John would be the perfect person to look at how humble he's become. For all his fame and all the trips around the globe, he's still a very humble man, and his main objective is to help people to become a better person. And that's what I've always stood for in the last 40 odd years I've been in this business. And it's interesting that there's somebody else that's come along, he's got 30 odd years experience now, that has the same idea and comes from the same place. And I think that's really important. People come and go, they're like rock bands, but those that are there a long time, there must be a secret to their longevity. And I think it's his humility and his ability to want to teach and make the world a better place. And that's what I believe we're here for. We're not here to preach to people. We're here to try and share with you the knowledge, the wisdom, the ups, the downs, the sideways as we've been through in our journey as being psychics and helping people all around the world. And I just hope in some small way I've been able to touch your heart and help you in some way. As I said, no free readings here. It is about education. This week we've been talking about the blue full moon. And before I go on, I wanted to say to you, if you want to get a reading, you want to know more about what's happening in your chart, head over to my Facebook page, Amanda Hall Psychic. There you will find the links to my website. When you get to the website and you've got to decided on a purchase or purchases, when you head to the checkout, type in the word in capital letters Facebook, and you'll get a little discount there at the checkout. It's something that I will be running continually. It's not that you have to book in today or anything like that. It will be running for the duration of my Facebook Lives. So I hope you know, if you want to sort of check things out, there's also opportunities on my website for you to do a free reading for yourself using my Simply Tarot cards. So that's a little fun thing. You can do that all day if you want to, or, you know, take your friends to the site and do your own little mini readings there with the Simply Tarot cards, with an amazing tarot widget designed for me by an amazing man called Aaron Bradley out of Nevada in the US of A. It's down where they all sort of go play poker machines. So he's a lovely young man, and he's done an amazing job for us. So I'm going to wrap the show up now. I've got to get ready for my show out of the US of A, starting in approximately 13 minutes time here on Facebook. If you go to the A1R Psychic Radio page on Facebook, you will find the live shows there. I'll be dressed in the same outfit, so it won't be hard to find me. And we will be doing a half-hour show there. We will be taking a couple of readings on the show. Next week, I'm going to be sharing with you some information about tarot and how to do readings and why do we do readings and what do we need to do in preparation for a reading. Because next week is Simply Tarot's little sister's, Secrets of Tarot's first birthday. So I thought, you know, we should have a little workshop to honour my first passion, which is tarot, and celebrate Secrets of Tarot's first birthday and the amazing success that it's had worldwide. It's just, it never ceases to amaze me that how, you know, cards can sort of change so many people's lives. And I love to hear your feedback. I love your messages. I love you to share stories with me about your journey with the tarot. It doesn't have to be because you've been using my cards, but if you want to join and learn more about tarot, we have a Simply Tarot group as well, which is a closed group, so it's very secret and you sort of feel very secure there. You can go in there and help each other with what you find on a card or how you look at a card. But as I said, next week, Secrets of Tarot mini workshop here on Facebook Live. Hopefully we'll be starting at 12:30 as we normally do, unless, of course, Mercury decides to play tricks again next week and they have a power outage in the US of A. And then, of course, we'll be flexible and work around that. But I hope you all have a very, very, very happy Easter. And I hope the Easter Bunny's good to you and brings you chockies if that's what you want. I'm not a huge fan of Easter egg chocolate, never have been, so I'm not going to change now. My Easter will probably be having some indulgence in some beautiful fresh mangoes. They're my real passion. I love seafood and I love mangoes, so that'll be my Easter Bunny treat. If I've been a good girl and the Easter Bunny comes to me. But wherever you are in this amazing globe of ours, have a very, very happy Easter. Be mindful of how the conversations you're going to have with loved ones and people that are closest to you, and make this a memorable time. Look at this as if it's the last day you're here on earth. Make it count. You know, tell people that you love them, honor them while they're here, because there will be so many people this Easter that will have missing people at the table, and you know that they will be in a sad time in their life because somebody's disappeared out of the family between Christmas and Easter, or in the last 12 months, or even 20 years ago, and it still hurts. So, you know, it's a time when I think our grief comes to the forefront. For those of you that want to know a little bit more about grief, and I know I'm still waffling on, I did do a workshop last week on grief, so you can check that out. It was My Angel in the Sky, and it was about grief, and we had lots of amazing comments about that. But I didn't particularly want to do that workshop this week because I wanted to get it in before we hit Easter, so that everybody could that needed to understand that and work through their grief could have a happier time at Easter. I want this to be the best Easter you've ever had. And be kind to the Easter Bunny. Don't run over him with your car if you see him. I mean, he does an amazing job, and I will see you all again next week, or unless you're going to join me in 9 minutes time now at A1R Psychic Radio. Have a great week. Bye for now.